So Davey, a fantastic result this afternoon, a great way to bounce back after last week's defeat. Can you give us your thoughts?
Delighted with the boys. I think we controlled large portions of the game. Speak about this quite a bit now, and it's something we've been working on a lot this season, is controlled entries into the final third, and hopefully the fans can see what we're trying to do, bring the full backs, the eights and the wingers into the equation. So try to not be as direct as maybe what we've been in previous seasons. So I think they had a lot of controlled entries into the opponent's box. Again, we can tidy up a wee bit in the box, but really happy with the boys. We actually worked a lot on it this week, hitting target, because I think over the previous two games, probably why we've lost games of football, not taking my chances, not hitting target. When you hit target, you've got a chance of a corner, a save that drops maybe to a second striker, a deflection, a penalty kick. So there's a lot of other opportunities that come about from hitting target, not just scoring goals or directly from hitting target. You don't hit target, I think you let the opposition off the hook very easily. So we worked on that today, and Big Dylan is something we worked on during the week. Big Dylan comes in his right foot, it takes a deflection, but I think he's hitting target and then the deflection goes in, which was one of the variables we talk about by hitting target. So now I'm just really happy with the boys. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes with the staff. I don't think you're looking where we are, so I'll strip the league down. I don't look at the last 5 games, I look at the first 33 games. You break that into thirds. So for the first third, I think we've accumulated 15 points. We've got a game in hand, right? But to be realistic, it's a big ask, Parkhead, Celtic away. So you're 15 points out of the first third. I think it's an incredible return. I'd have probably been really happy with 12. Maybe I've took 9, but I've been happy with 12. So I'm really happy with 15. I think that's top 6 form. Obviously you've got to get that consistency within your game. If you put that in and you can keep that consistency, you're going into the split on 45 points, and I don't think we've ever been in that position ever as a club. It's always been maybe finished on 45 points once you've played your extra 5 games. And I know I'm speaking a long way away, but I think that's the target the boys want. The boys are trying to push for top 6, but my job is trying not to let them get carried away as well. I've got the ambition, we all want to get there, but I think we've got to keep our feet in the ground. Staying in the Premier League's definitely our objectives. Does 15 points help you do that? I think it does.
So as we were saying before, Dylan Bambula obviously getting on the score sheet, getting his first Livingston goal. How impressed have you been with his performance and his improvement over the last few weeks?
I'm allowed to answer that with two answers.
Of course.
In the opponent's half, delighted. In our half, very nervous. Does that make sense? Just the same as you answered it, you could answer it. Big Dylan's came in, I think he's honestly on the ball. I think technically he's got everything. And I think you're going to see Dylan getting better as the games go on, when to play, where to play, and playing at the right times, basically. But I'm delighted for him. He comes in, he's took a lot of stick off me, probably very different to other coaches he's had, especially when he's coming for League 2 in England, but he's previously he was in France. And do you know what, he's been brilliant to work with. Technically he's very good, and I think he's brought a lot to the team in offensive actions. Him and Joel have been unplayable at times this year. Big Curtis has led the line well. See, I'm not daft. Like, Bruce is not a million miles away, but see when I stripped the game back last week, it's a bit harsh coming out with a totally different team, because I think the boys played extremely well last week. I don't think they were poor against St Mirren. Yeah, there's moments in the game we could do better. It's probably what kept wee Brucey on the bench today. St Johnstone's very good at set plays against, and then having that number 9 with a wee bit more height probably swung it in Curtis's favour today. Because I think we've got to get more clinical in the opposition's half, and wee Brucey's going to help us do that. At this point in time, I've got four offensive players. Really, I can play all the players there, Pittman, Shinnie, wee Stephen Kelly, they can all play a wee bit higher. But I've got really 4 out and out offensive players, and I think all of them are going to play a huge part in the season.
And you also handed a first Premiership start to Stephen Kelly today. How impressed were you with his display this afternoon? I
was impressed, but it was expected also. I spoke about that in the media inside. For me, I'd have probably, ideally, Stephen, I was looking at bringing Stephen in next year. I thought he'd probably go on loan for another year. I was hoping to be a loan option, but I thought he'd maybe go down south. But I've always had my eye on Stephen Kelly. and when Rangers said, look, there's an opportunity to get him full time, I had to take it. I had to take it. Midfield's probably one of our strongest areas of the park, so I had in one hand thinking, I don't want to bring the kid in, he's not playing as much football as what I think he deserves to be playing, but I think he's come in, he's worked his way into the team, he's been very good in training, very good in reserve games, and he got an opportunity there, and do you know what, I think he took it. I thought he was brilliant, honestly. He's used to the ball, he's a very, very clever footballer, and he's one of these ones that's hopefully going to beat Livingston for a few seasons more, because I think there's a lot more to come from him. I think he's got a big footballing future ahead of him. I think his feet are grounded, but technically and his game understanding and his game knowledge within Stephen, he's up there with the top. He's up there with the best we've got. So really, really looking forward to see what he can bring to Livingston.
And finally, just looking ahead to next week, obviously a difficult fixture away to Rangers at Ibrox. What do you think is needed from the players to try and get a result over there?
Goals. It's got to be a big ask, isn't it? Let's be honest. But it's 2 games I'm really, really looking forward to. I think Kilmarnock kind of got hit with this fixture list at the start. Like their first 2 games, I think, were the old firm. Derek sitting at the bottom of the table on 0 points, and there's teams maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 points ahead of him, and he's. But we're going into it slightly different, whereas we're from a 15-point starting position going into the next batch of fixtures. So going to Ibrox, we're going to be the underdogs, but do you know what? This batch of players, this group of players, I think they can go and do something. I'm not going to say we're going to go and win. It could be, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're more than capable with the group of players we've got to try and get something from the game. And then we're Celtic here. Again, I think the boys are more than capable of going to try and get something from the game. So it's 2 games. We're going to be out and out underdogs, but it's 2 games, you know what, I think we can maybe surprise a few people. But don't bring this interview back to bite me if I've been beaten both occasions. So 2 games I'm looking forward to, especially with 15 points on the table.